Now, one thing we talked about before we started filming today, each hospice is required to have its own medical director.
That's correct.
Is that right? And who's the medical director for Interim Hospice?
Dr. Bradley Wilson.
Okay. All right. So we talked about all the different services you provide, but where can those services be provided? Does someone, if they want to have services at home, can it happen at home? If they're in assisted living, or is there any limit to that?
No, hospice is provided wherever you call home.
Okay.
We provide hospice services in assisted living and senior high-rises. Here in our community, the Abbott Home, the senior high-rise, a lot of the assisted livings, nursing homes, any place a person calls home, they can access hospice services because we come to them.
Okay. I know that there are several hospice services out there. How can someone compare different hospice programs? Are there any resources available for that?
There is a national website. It's called nhpco.org.
Okay.
National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization.
Okay.
And they have on their website kind of a checklist, if you will, that consumers can access, and it tells you what to look for when you're looking for a hospice. And it goes through a myriad of questionnaires, and then they can just go to the general websites of each hospice, and they can find out what hospices are members of NHPCO.
Okay.
That's always helpful. And then I think that CMS has a website, Medicare has a website where they actually rank people, services, healthcare services.
Okay.
Similar to what people do when they consider a move to a nursing home, where they go in and they take tours and they get a feel. There's nothing wrong with the family contacting several hospices for that initial information meeting, because a lot of times it boils down to the people. Hospices all generally offer a lot of the same services because we're governed all under
Sure.
the same umbrella. And a lot of times it comes down to comfort level with the approach of the people that you're working with. We're in very intimate settings with these folks. We're part of life-ending journey is a very private, a very intimate type of a thing, and you need to be comfortable with the folks that are coming into your home on a regular basis. So I think a lot of times it comes down to making those calls. Everybody has different needs and wants, and there's a lot of wonderful providers here in town. So make the calls, have that initial meeting, ask about services, what's available, and then certainly go on the website and do your homework.
Sure. Well, and what are the things that that you guys think sets you apart from other hospice programs? It might, I don't know if it's the people that's working there or other programs you guys offer, but anything you'd like to add there?
We have a couple of additions to our program outside of what Medicare requires, the standards that all hospices have to follow. We have a wonderful We Honor Veterans program whereby we partner with the Veterans Appreciation Foundation here in Muskingum County, and we have veteran volunteers, actual veterans who volunteer to visit our veterans. We educate our staff on a monthly basis of the unique needs of a veteran. We honor our veterans by penning them and giving recognition certificates, as well as throughout the year offer opportunities for veterans to be recognized while they're in the hospice program. I think that's something that really sets us apart. And we also are members of the Ohio Hospice Veteran Partnership Organization, where once a month, hospices throughout the state of Ohio meet and talk about things that we're doing for veterans and the changes that have been made in the VA regarding our veterans. And I know that's a heart for you. You
Sure.
have a heart for that, and getting veterans the benefit that they certainly deserve. We also have a pet therapy program. Tracy can maybe speak to that. We have a wonderful gentleman that has dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. As part of our volunteer program, if a person has a love for animals, we can match them with one of our certified pet therapy volunteers. And so it's really great. Some people, when they get to end of life, they may not necessarily be responsive to people. Maybe they don't feel well. Maybe they don't want to talk anymore. But my goodness, bring an animal in the picture. And if it's a dog lover, and you see a giant St. Bernard coming in that's just a big teddy bear, it can really bring some calm and some enjoyment. So those are unique things that are really special and make a difference, I think.
That's great. you're talking to a dog person here, so that totally appeals to me there. Well, all right. So, if someone has decided then that they want to use Enter Hospice, how does that start? How do they sign up for it? If you can kind of explain that a little bit.
They would make the telephone call to our office if they haven't already had the conversation with their physician. Now, if they've had a conversation with their physician and he or she is recommending that they look into hospice programs, certainly the physician's office can make that referral, but it doesn't have to be a referral from a physician. Anyone can. In fact, the loved one or the caregiver of someone that is struggling with an end-of-life disease or condition can make a call for on behalf of their loved one for us to come and make a visit. Just a free of charge consultation to determine first, is that patient eligible to use the benefit, and secondly, help them understand what it is they're asking about.
Sure.
Without all of those misunderstandings surrounding it. And then following that, it's on our shoulders. It's our responsibility then to walk through that pace and get a physician's order and get the approval from their financial side, from Medicare or their private insurance, and then we move it rather quickly.
Okay.
It can happen within that same week, 24, 48 hours from the initial phone call for the consult.
Okay. All right.
Part of the admission process too is once the nurse does the initial assessment, then we have our other team members start stepping into the picture. For example, our chaplain makes an initial visit within the first 5 days of admission. And someone may or may not want services from the chaplain, but it's certainly available. Our social worker does the same. She's a plethora of knowledge for resources.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know what's available to them. And so she can help connect those dots. Maybe there's Meals on Wheels, maybe there's a Lifeline program, maybe there's things that families hadn't thought of. So she steps into the picture. So we all kind of have our pieces and parts. So once the case starts, the patient gets settled in, and all of us come together and tend to the patient and their family in our own wheelhouse, so to speak.
Makes sense. Well, so again, I feel like that's giving folks a good overview of what to expect and what hospice is, and we hopefully helped alleviate some of those myths that we hear all the time. And so if someone does have additional questions, they can reach out to either one of you.
Absolutely. They can use our email address to do it that way, or they can give a phone call to the office. It'd be fine. One of the things that I think you had asked earlier, what sets us apart, and I know you spoke with our home care side a few months ago, and I think that's something that really sets us apart. You had said that you understood that you can come into hospice and maybe graduate, if you will, from hospice because you improve. And that is exactly true. That can happen. And that's the beauty of interim, in the sense that we have a full continuum of service. You can maybe still need support in the home through a home health worker, a therapist, a nurse, someone to set up meds, an aide, things of that nature. So you could go from our home health continuum into the hospice and then back to home health if that was meeting your needs in a better fashion.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense as well. I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, certainly if there are any other questions folks have, please reach out to either one of you, and you can address whatever those questions might be. Thanks again both for coming in today. This has been great, and hopefully this will be very useful for everyone out there. So thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time.